Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of the 351 podcast. And as you can see today, we have two very special guests, Gawe and Paulo. And I guess we could start off by having you guys introduce yourselves first, right? Your name and what you do.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you guys so much for having me.
Pleasure.
And congratulations for the whole project. I see that you guys are very ambitious and full of motivation. So good for you guys, and I hope this goes really well. And I'm here for you guys, however I can help. So, hello everybody, my name is Paulo. I'm 23, and I'm a management consultant in Portugal.
My name is Gawi, and I'm a full-time 351 podcast fan since day one.
Damn.
So it's a real honor to be here, guys. Thank you so much. But right now I am an entrepreneur trying to figure it out. I wouldn't say entrepreneur yet. I would say just figuring it out still.
Entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur,
Just like me,
exactly.
just like me. We also need to give a shout out to Kevin, the guy who told us to introduce ourselves because we don't do it. We only did it in the first episode, so thank you, Kevin. And then I guess we can just start off by talking about the thing I wanted to talk about the most, which is career, success, mindset, entrepreneurship. And I think we all are quite ambitious in our goals in life and maybe in our personal lives too. But what are your guys' ambitions? What are you striving for in this game we call life?
I think ambitious is super relative to each person. I think I used to be a very ambitious person, but all my ambition was financial. And I think that now I'm still a very ambitious person, but my ambition is to create a happy life just for me and the people around me, to wake up happy, and I think that that's really enough. But to get there, I probably need to still be ambitious with the finances.
I feel like you also kind of went through that phase, didn't you, Fleep? Where
A bit.
before in your head it was like only money, but now you kind of...
Now it's still only money, but I'm a bit more open-minded towards, I know that money doesn't bring full satisfaction in life. But actually, when you said waking up happy, I think that's the wrong term, at least for me, because happiness is a state where it's just in a moment. I think to really be sustainable in your routine, in your day-to-day life, it's not really happiness, it's more pursuit. I think if you wake up with pursuit, happiness comes as a side benefit. Because if you're striving to be happy, I think it's hard to get there because it's just a moment in time. And if you're constantly striving to be happy, you'll never be happy.
In a recent podcast that I listened to, Lex Friedman interviewed Mark Cuban.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked him because Mark Cuban constantly gets asked, does money bring happiness? And his answer, I thought, made so much sense. He said that if you're happy when you're poor, you're going to be super happy when you're rich. And I totally agree with that. It's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of our parents came from a lot less than what we have, and they were still able to find happiness in just running around and just being youthful and being kids. And now that they have money, I feel like it's almost harder for them to find happiness because they're always working towards this one goal, right? Because this is what they most lacked. So I feel like we need to be better than them. And we need to be able to find happiness regardless of financial success.
What's your take on it?
Well, I totally agree with what you guys are talking about. I feel like, first of all, it's very relative, everything. You know, it really depends on your personality, your life experience, and just everything you want to achieve, you know? So it's very, very different, you know? One thing that makes somebody very happy can make somebody very sad, you know? A lot of people are just looking for stability and routine, and for another person, that's exactly what they don't want for their life, you know? That's something that makes them very sad and feel non-accomplished. So I think it's really, really relative, and I think the most important thing is you got to know yourself. You got to know what motivates you, and you want to really understand what drives you, you know? I feel like that's the most critical thing. So it's really an individual analysis. And sometimes people compare themselves with other people. Oh, this guy's doing this, maybe I should be doing that. But maybe what the other guy's doing is not going to drive you forward, is not going to make you motivated, because again, it's all very relative, you know. So I think that's the first thing about happiness and success and motivation. Is just it's different person by person, and we gotta acknowledge that to really figure out what it is, you know.
I've been actually debating about this because money is something that I think we all want, but I think at this time we're all in our 20s. I think it's better use of our time if we spend it on really understanding ourselves. And then when you have the base and the foundation done, then you can go out in the world and pursue whatever you want to pursue. Because a lot of people, they don't focus internally first, and then they just tackle the world with the wrong mindset. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they like, what they don't like. Maybe just using the perception of the world and what other people say it's good for you. And then later in life, when they get to a point, they look back and say, oh, this is not who I am. This is not what I like. So I think in our 20s, me included, we should focus on being more aware of what we like, what we don't like, who we are, before starting to tackle the world.
Yeah, in the 20s, what I've really come to realize and appreciate is that we have so much freedom because we don't have any responsibilities. So we should really make the most out of this time to discover ourselves before starting to worry about those other things that much. So right now, I think is really the time to just invest in ourselves and discover what we want for life.
But also, I feel like we've had a lot of time to discover ourselves. I think a different way of putting it would be to find like the right path of evolution, like find the right path to evolve towards, because like we're only going to get more and more responsibilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't have them now, but we will eventually, and you want to be ready for them.
That's right.
So yeah, constantly trying to like work on yourself.
But how do we find what we like? A lot of people talk about passion and how, oh, you need to find your passion. Do you guys believe in passion, first of all? Do you believe you will find something that you won't be tired of doing it over and over again? Because I think a lot of those billionaires, successful people, they throw out passion like it's something you can find. But I have a hard time believing, do we truly find our passion? Like, how is passion created? We don't find something and be passionate. Passion is built, right? You don't really find your passion. It's like a love. You don't find a relationship, you build one. Like, you can't be finding a partner assuming it's already made. Like, you have to find someone who has the potential and start building together. I think that's similar to passion.
I agree with you completely. Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people say, finding your passion is important, but I think it really is about nurturing your passion because, at least for me, when I start learning something new, the more I get better at it, the more passionate I am about developing that skill. So I really think it's about nurturing it instead of finding it. Finding your passion is such an overused thing nowadays.
Yes.
I agree. I think that like we're generally like curious people, and whatever you get your hands on, whether it's something business related or just a hobby, something for fun, I think that we try to get better at it. And we started playing paddle recently in the last year, and like we never did that before, and we all were, well, most of us were horrible. Most of us, it was our first time, but the more we played, the more addicted we got, and twice a week became 4 or 5 times, 6 times a week. And I think it's the same with everything else. I don't think like the passions are so like straightforward like you said, but I think that if you're a generally curious person and you start learning about different industries, eventually you'll want to learn more and more, and you might have a knack for a certain area. And I feel like once those two like encounter each other, it's really easy like to start developing passion, like wanting to really get good at something.
Would you guys say it's more about finding your talent then? Because then the passion will follow. Because if you're good at something, the passion will naturally follow if you keep on developing it.
Yeah.
Not everyone's talented at what they like to do, but I think that often they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think those are very good points. One is we need to try new things. You know, you only want to figure out what you like if you try it. You know, and especially nowadays, I feel like everybody's kind of like in a bubble. especially with social media. Like you get exposed to the same things, you hang out with the same type of people, and although we live in big cities and we meet a lot of people, sometimes it's hard to get out of your bubble and like truly talk and meet people that have a completely different background and different experiences. And I feel like that's something that's really enriching, for your life, because again, it exposes to different points of view, and it can bring you things that you haven't thought about and activities that you haven't considered. So I think that's a really important thing, not just for your passion, but just for a happy life. I think it's really important to try new things, because at the end of the day, I feel like life is a constant adventure, and we're just discovering our lives, and the world itself. Our life is limited. Eventually, one day we're going to die. And at least for me, I think it's really important to like explore as much of it as I can, because I want to have a good enough image of what life is and what the world is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think going through that process of finding new things, meeting new people, is going to eventually lead you to like passions and things you want to dedicate your time to. And one thing that I think is really important as well is, things change with time. We change as we grow older, as we change jobs, as we meet new people, date different people, So it's completely normal that our passions and the things we want to dedicate our times to change as we evolve. And I think that we shouldn't like be against it, but rather we should accept it, Like at this phase of my life, I was really into this, but now I'm more into this, and that's okay.
Ride the wave.
Yeah, it's really important to be flexible for you to navigate through life, because you never know what kind of shit's gonna happen to you.
100%.
Yeah.
Like the one thing you can be sure that is going to happen in the future is change.
Yeah.
So if you're not open to change, you're just gonna get destroyed.
In that same podcast, Mark Cuban said that the two most important traits for a successful entrepreneur is firstly curiosity, because in such a fast-paced world, you need to be able to consume information and you need to be able to adapt. And the second was adaptability, to be able to adapt to any environment that you're faced with. I had a question for Paulo, because you're a consultant.
Yeah.
You're probably exposed to the most different variety of industries out of all of us. Do you ever feel like I want to work in that industry? Do you ever feel like I want to jump ship? Like if they offered me a job, I would take it.
I mean, honestly, I think eventually at one point in my life, yes. But I feel like, we're talking about this a while ago, in our 20s, being in our 20s, like being the beginning of my career, honestly, I love management consulting because, like you said, I get exposed to so many things. And that's really what I want to be doing right now. I want to figure out what every single industry has to offer, meet new people. And that's honestly something that I think is really interesting and something I want to keep on doing. But something that I've realized, I've been doing management consulting for 2 years, and although I've been working in different industries, one thing that never changes is human nature. And that's something that I found very interesting. Wherever you go, you're always handling humans, interacting with humans, doing business, whatever it may be. So I think at the end of the day, it's not industry, obviously, but one thing that I would really want to figure out and be interested in is how to interact with people and get along with people.
Psychology.
Human relations, yeah. I think honestly, human relations is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing we have in life, because we're talking about success. And for example, if you measure success by money, let's say you buy a really nice car, a nice house, a nice boat, but by yourself, are you really going to enjoy that? I don't think so. So I think personal relationships are really important and something that we have to focus on.
On a similar vein, so you said it's really important to experience different things and meet all kinds of people, right? We went to the same high school, but then you went to ACS Cobham, the boarding school.
Yeah.
How do you think that has affected your outlook in life, your values, and just how do you think it has changed you?
Wait, I need some backstory. I don't get the story. What? Boarding school?
So for context,
Yeah,
me,
context.
Paulo, and Vasco all went to the same high school.
Yep.
Yeah.
But Paulo left, was it in
11th grade.
11th grade to go to boarding school?
Yeah, I went to boarding school.
Just for 1 year.
No, 11th grade and 12th grade. So
Oh,
I
2
finished
years.
high school there.
So you didn't do IB? Or you did
I
it
did IB
in
there.
the boarding school?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, to answer Vasco's question, we're very lucky to go to international school. So that already exposes us to different backgrounds and different nationalities. And going to a boarding school, it was like that, but on a 24/7 basis. You'd wake up with people from different countries, have lunch, dinner, classes, and everything. So I'm sorry. So you really get accustomed to knowing that there are different ways of living your life and different cultures, and if you always live in the same country and you see people from other countries, like, oh, those guys have a different type of way of living. But if you meet a lot of people from different countries, you realize, well, my type of living is just one of the multiple types of livings there is, you know? So it kind of opens your way of thinking and your mind to knowing I'm just part of the world, you know? It's not like there's my country and there's the rest of the world. There's multiple countries. I'm part of it. And just like I see things one way, some other people see things different ways, you know? So it just opens your mind to like there's multiple perspectives. And I think that's been the best thing about it, is just realizing that, you know? There's no one right answer type one.
So you think it didn't change it very much? Because it was an international high school to an international boarding school.
Yeah. I feel like you broadened it, you know, because one thing is just going to classes and one thing is living with people. And honestly, it's been an amazing experience because I legit made friends for life. It's almost like family, you know, you live with these people 24/7. But yeah, I think it just kind of amplified that effect of, you know, there's a bunch of nationalities, a bunch of different cultures, you know, and the world is so big. And, you know, it's kind of like a buzzword nowadays, but being accepting, because it just stems from the fact that there's no right and wrong way of living life, you know. There's no right or wrong religions, right or wrong, whatever it may be, you know, just different types of livings, and you know, and everything's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool, though. You've been exposed to so many things. You've been to high school, international, then boarding school. Was it in the UK?
Yeah, and I did university there as well,
And then uni.
as you guys did as well.
Yeah.
All of us did. Uni.
Yeah, I think at this time of our lives, it's all about exposure.
Yeah.
Being exposed to as many things as possible, so then you can tailor it to whatever your interest might be.
But I think that more so than international schools, having international experiences. So leaving your home country, going to live elsewhere in a different country in the UK, where, especially in London, the population isn't British, it's international. And then really meeting these people, learning about their lives, learning about your differences. I think that the biggest difference that I see between people right now, the same people that we hung out with in high school or before then, it's having lived in a different country. I think that people, or by themselves, or being exposed to different cultures, people like grow exponentially, and it's very incomparable to what we're able to learn from in high school. Because in high school, even though we're so different, people don't explore those differences.
Yeah.
We're trying to find similarities, and we're trying to like find what we're similar in and how we can like coexist there. Whereas in uni, you really learn to appreciate the differences of people, and when you go to their countries and you see like people live in a certain way, it's really eye-opening.
Yeah.
Hey, that was some gold you just dropped. Like in high school, it's all about fitting in.
Yeah.
And then in uni, it's all about finding your thing. It's not
Because in high school you can't run away.
You had
Yeah.
no choice.
From anyone. You're with the same people
Yeah.
every day. But in uni, if you don't like a group or you don't get along or you're there, you just don't interact with them.
Yeah.
You're nice to each other, but you can find a different group that's more relatable, that shares the same visions.
Yeah, I think we talked about this, that in high school you really open your eyes to so many new things because you get to choose. Like it's all about university. In uni, yeah. Because in high school you're sort of forced to be in your class, in your group, whether you like it or not. Fortunately, I did like it, but some people don't have that fortunacy. I don't know how to say that word. But fortune, yeah. But then in uni, you really get to pick and choose, and that's how you develop the skill of making decisions. Because when we get to uni, it's literally all about making decisions. In high school, you live with your parents, you have a schedule, have a routine, eat with your parents tell you what to do, sort of, when to go out, when to come back. But then in uni, you get exposed to controlling 100% of your life. And I think that's such a cool experience, especially if you leave your hometown or even your country, even better, because you really get the full immersion of what it's like to live alone and then be by yourself.
For the young viewers, go to uni, not to learn a subject, but to grow and make friends and
network.
do everything. Exactly, network.
Unless it's like medicine, law. I think in these categories, then
They partied
it's-
the most. They were the hardest partiers, the medicine students.
Really?
In London, everyone who's in medicine, they just go ham.
Really?
Really?
My theory was that because there's so many more British students in medicine, in the UK rather than like business or
Yeah.
because these other degrees are a lot more international.
Yeah.
Whereas in medicine, there's a lot more British people coming from different parts of the UK to London to study medicine. The alcohol laws are different there to Europe. We start drinking a lot earlier. We're exposed to that world. And I don't know. I feel like the medicine students are probably like a lot of them that weren't used to that world, and they party like crazy. At least at King's, they were there was a reputation for the medicine students. They had their own like campus. They had their own bar, guys bar, and people were, like
medicine
hard
people
drinkers.
do be bougie.
But also they have 5-6 years, so they have more time to like
That's true.
party and.
But yeah, uni is all about everything except studies. Unless you're in, I'd say medicine, those kinds of
Something
things
so
where
specialized.
where what you study actually plays out. But business, I mean, it's all about networking, right? Especially business. Business is all about relationships and the people you meet, the people you know. I guess business, you also sort of need to know a few theories and that, but it's all about, I think it's more practical, like learning through practice than actual theory. What do you guys think? You guys did business?
I did accounting and finance.
Accounting and finance,
Yeah.
I
and
did economics and management from undergrad.
so you guys can speak to it. Did you use any of the things you've learned in uni?
Yes, I mean the finance part is very theoretical, you know. So it's a bunch of formulas, a bunch of theorems, and all that you gotta know, you know. So there is a component to it that it is applicable, you know. You need to know how to like discount cash flows, value companies, whatever it may be. So there is a component of it. But a lot of my electives, I agree with you. It wasn't like the things that I learned aren't really that much relevant. But it's mostly about the people you meet. But also I feel like uni is just proving that you're able to deliver, you know. I feel like it's mostly about that. You can follow a schedule, you can deliver the things that you ask for, you know. I think it's mostly about that. 3 years of like dedication, if you're doing business, for example.
But where did you see that? Because I saw something similar, like having a university degree just proves that you can be here on time, do the hours, do your work, and then...
Yeah, I think it depends on the course. For example, if you're doing medicine, obviously you need to like learn very specific things and you need to be really good at it, you know. But for some business, I don't think business is particularly difficult. I've done a few electives of business, and I don't think it's particularly difficult. But again, I think it's more of like showing that you can show up and you can, you know, apply yourself and do these things, and which is of value as well. Because if you think about it, if you study business, there's a multiple array of things you could be doing, and the only thing that really matters is, are you able to focus? Are you able to work things out? And are you able to deliver? You know, and that's what really matters. I mean, I think we're talking about a bit before about going to uni. I think 100% if you want to do the other courses. But I feel like nowadays, there's a multiple ways you can go into multiple industries without going to university. And I think businesses are more aware of that, you know, because at the end of the day, you want somebody that can deliver. So if a person has an amazing track record of experiences, starts up, whatever it may be, why wouldn't you hire them? You know, they've shown that they can deliver and they can add value. So why wouldn't you hire them? You know, I think back a few years ago, there's kind of like the stigma, you got to hire people that have been to university. But nowadays, I feel like the market is much more practical. You know, people want to deliver. You know, people are more incentivized to like try new things, startups, crypto. I think we can talk about that as well. So I think nowadays things have boiled down to, can you deliver? Are you able to focus, deliver? Are you competent? That's what really matters, you know, because you can have all these fancy degrees and do nothing about it, you know.
I would add something to that, which is problem solving. I think
100%.
business is all about problem solving. It doesn't matter if you're smart or not. Like, if you can problem solve, that's of so much value. I work in automation and I develop like automations, and it's all about problem solving. It doesn't matter if I've studied before or not. The skill of problem solving, if you're good at it, learning about stuff and theory, it's easy. But developing the skill of problem solving is so important. I think that's why people are hiring more without university, because university, although maybe you sometimes have to problem solve, you don't really build that muscle. When you're in startups, when you're in companies, that's where you actually start problem solving, especially small companies where you have a lot of responsibilities. You have to do some of this, some of that. I think that's where you really build the skill of problem solving.
Mhm.
And I think that's a underrated skill that if you build that, you'll be good anywhere.
I think that is the skill that a lot of these businesses that have it figured out are actually looking for when they're testing
Yeah.
you. When like I did a master's in finance, and in our masters you had people from all sorts of like degrees. You had business students, economic students, but you also had engineers, you had
Mhm.
physicists. And what's really interesting is that the economists don't know how to read a balance sheet. The business people don't know the history of economics. Like that's why I feel like when I chose my degree, I didn't want any. I wanted something more practical. But then who I really saw that excelled a lot in these areas in finance is engineers. Because I think that engineering produces the best problem solvers.
Mhm.
Yes.
Because they
yes.
do it step by step,
I agree.
methodically, and they have a clear thought process, and they test it, they isolate for factors. They're very good at thinking about a problem and like
Yeah.
in like the overall
Yeah.
in every aspect possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that like what you study isn't as important. It's like you said, it's not about getting a degree of specific area. It's about showing that not only you're able to do all of these other things, like show up on time, but that you're able to adapt, and that's what they're looking for. They don't care if your background is in our area, but if you show that you're able to learn and adapt and like excel, then we'll
Mhm.
give you the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people who have the background, have the studies, they don't show that, and then don't understand why it's unsuccessful, right? But problem solving, definitely key skill.
I actually wrote that in my like applications in finance because I really saw the difference between, because I studied engineering, I really saw the difference in problem solving between business and then engineering. Because engineering, it's like you said, it's a step-by-step process, is an emotional problem solving. I think it's very methodical. In business, I can see the difference. I don't know how to explain it, and I also don't know how I built it, because in uni I didn't study that much. But I think what ingrained in me was the methods. Like, not really the theory, the information, the knowledge, but more like the methods used to solve stuff. And I think engineering is really good in that sense because you get exposed to so many problems, different problems. For example, in business, a lot of it is writing, like your interpretation of this problem and thing. But in engineering, it's a lot of different modules, and it's all about solving problems within those modules. So it's always solving problems. So I thought I didn't learn that much in engineering, honestly. Also because I didn't study that much. But this method of solving problems was really ingrained, and I only thought of that when I was applying for jobs and when I was talking to business people about solving simple things. They took really long to figure it out, and for me it was just like, it was very instantaneous. Okay, not instantaneous, but it was easier for me to think of a solution or a method to solve something than someone who's studying business, because in engineering, again, you build that muscle of.
But that way of thinking is exactly how businesses solve problems. You have a big problem, you try to tackle it, you try to find a direction. But in this direction, there's going to be a ton of little problems, and those are your like modules, right?
Mhm.
So, and then you have to solve each of them. But then you have to consider how each of them might tie into the larger problem,
bigger
and how
picture,
it can
yeah.
affect that, right? So, like when you're in high school and you're learning math, what you're learning is not how to do the math. Like a lot of people learn how to do the math and then they learn how to replicate it, but understanding it will really take you a long way, because the applications of these things are infinite, and it's just a matter of you being able to identify places to apply these things.
Mhm.
And most people aren't able to find like applications for these things. Like engineering can be so straightforward and methodical, but at the same time it can be so broad, and you can use it in every area of life.
Mhm.
Like I had a friend who, like, such a simple problem, my zipper broke. He's not an engineer, but he just got like this zip, you know, the things where you used to like tie the hands or tie like
Cuffs?
bags?
Zip tie.
No,
Handcuff.
like the zip ties.
Yeah.
And they put it around the zipper that was broken in order for the zip itself not to fall out again.
Oh.
Because now it would reach the zip line and it would
Yeah,
stay.
yeah.
And I thought that that was genius, but I personally would have never been able to think about it because I don't work with like the zip ties that much. But it's like it was so creative, and I thought, and my first thought was you should go into engineering, because like I feel like the people who have a brain for it will develop it. The ones who don't will learn how to think in your way, and that's why like I even told my sister, I said, if you don't know what to study, personally I think the two holy grails of degrees are engineering and number two computer science. Although computer science now is like hard to judge because it's such a complicated world, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, engineering, yeah.
But then, what do you think sets you up for success in university?
In university.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I think it's just motivation, you know? If you're not going to be doing something that you're not motivated, I think it's very unlikely that you're going to do well, you know? As opposed if you're doing something that you're curious about, that you're motivated. For example, if you want to do law, and you've always been interested about law, how the law works, and you really want to be a lawyer, then obviously you're going to be, or it's very likely that you're going to be a great student. But if you do something that because your family forced you to do, for example, a lot of families force their kids to like do medicine because it is a good course and it has good career options. But if you're just doing because you're forced, you're not going to be motivated. So I think it's going to be very unlikely that you're going to succeed. So I think that's the main thing, motivation. You know, regardless of what the course is, if you're motivated, you're going to do well.
And what about the discipline to say no? Because I feel like in uni, I was quite. She wants to die. Well, I feel like in uni, so many things were happening, and we really needed to say no. And I wasn't able to. Honestly, it was hard to say no because there were so many things happening, societies, and then parties, and then dinners, and then this and that. Like it was so hard for me to say no.
But
like
it's not so straightforward because by saying no one time, two times, are these people going to keep inviting you? And then you're going to be part of the same circles. And then are you going to be able to develop the interest that you have right now? So it's, I think it's, learning to say no is really important. And I'm someone who used to be really bad at saying no as well until my flatmate taught me.
Wait, how did he taught you?
I think he led by example because like I used to actually give him a tough time because he would be very much like, okay, we have a dinner and we're all going together to the dinner, but he wanted to go to the gym earlier, and we'd be like, hey, you can skip the gym one day and like we can spend some time, have a drink, we can hang out. And he's like, no, like I'm going to the gym. And then when he had a girlfriend for the first time we knew, he was still like that. Like they would have plans, but he needed to do certain things at a certain time. His schedule was all planned out. And if we were hanging out at night and he wanted to go home, he wouldn't be peer pressured into staying. He would just go. He really taught me that, like, the difference that you'll make by making like these decisions is small on the rest of the group, but it impacts you more. So, like, figure out what you want and like don't stay there by forcing yourself if you're not going to be pleasant. Leave, like go home, rest. But yeah, learning to prioritize yourself, I think, is what he taught me. Like he never taught me this lesson with words. I just watched him and I was like, yeah, I need to be more like him because I was a bit of a people pleaser and I always wanted to be a part of everything and I had a lot of FOMO. So yeah, but I think like I think in uni you should learn to say yes at the beginning. No comes later. No comes later when like the bad things start to happen. But at first, like just go out there, experience, because you're in a new environment. You want like you got to have a bit of adventurous in you to navigate it because it's a very different world to having your routine every day, waking up at a certain time, getting picked up, having classes, going home, sports after school.
Yeah.
You know what would be cool? Like in a few years, maybe like 20 years, ask your friend if he regretted saying no to all those things. It's interesting to know.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Or if
We're still good friends.
Do we regret saying yes? No.
Yeah.
Do you?
I don't.
Maybe.
Exactly.
The thing, because in uni, it's all about, I guess you're right. It's all about saying yes because you're in uni for 4 years. Are you really going to be happy? Okay, maybe actually. Like on a Friday night, everyone's going out. Because my sister taught me this, sister not here, but she talks about JOMO. Joy of missing out. So Friday night, everyone's going out. You're like, no. Going home, I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna joy of missing out.
I have that
It's-
now.
Yeah, you have that now.
But I didn't before.
Yeah, in uni it's hard to have JOMO, but in uni I think it's a good place to always say yes.
It's a completely different phase in life from where we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were able to go out the next day, wake up early and still do your things. Now, like, we went yesterday to a bar, and today I was sort of dead, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So, our bodies aren't used to it. But we're still so young. How are we
I
so
think we're just
weak?
more intelligent and we're more introspective and we're more able to identify
The
bad emotions when you're sadder, when you're not feeling great. Whereas when you're younger, I just ignored all of that. Like depression, like once I started understanding depression better, I started understanding how people got, like when I was young, I didn't understand how people got depressed. Because in my head, it was,
maybe that's a good thing.
yeah, I think it's different propensities to becoming depressed. And I think I have low propensity. But like in uni, I just thought like everything is so fast and euphoric and like you don't, I never stopped to think like, oh, I'm feeling kind of bad today, I'm not going to go do this. It was always like, am I good enough? Yeah, I'll go. It was, I never thought about like, yeah. Whereas now I'm looking for reasons to.
But the thing also is now, at least for me in uni, when I go out, because uni, it literally felt like vacation for me, like 4 years of vacation.
Yeah.
Now where I'm focused on my career, I want to do things. When I go out, I just feel guilt.
Yeah.
It's just so much guilt that makes me feel bad. So it doesn't really motivate me to go again. In uni, it would be so much fun because guilt wasn't present. But right now, like yesterday, we went out. It was fun, but I woke up like I should have went running in the morning. Why did I wake up at 11? So,
But also for you, I feel like because you're working a fixed job, these things like accumulate. So on Sunday you have a drink or two. Monday you wake up tired. On Monday you don't rest so well. So then on Tuesday you're a bit groggy. And when I was working 9 to 5 in London, I felt that a lot. If someone wanted to do something on a Tuesday night, I would think, do I really want to? But if someone wanted to do something on a Thursday night, ooh, because then Friday you have a chill day and then you rest. But now you don't really have that luxury of resting like you did in uni, which is you go out and then the next day you have one class at 4 p.m.
True.
and you don't have to show up.
True.
So
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
that
very
is
true.
time
That's
to
a
like
great point.
reset when you really need to,
yeah, that's
Damn,
true.
That's true.
and now you don't. Yeah.
So Sonia's in the background. She's our producer, and she prepared the Would You Rather for the guys. We don't have a thing, but so how the Would You Rathers work is we say the Would You Rather, everyone gives an answer, but we can't explain.
We can or we can't?
We can't,
can't.
explain.
Oh no.
Open to interpretation.
Give us a hard one, Sonia.
So the would you rather is, would you rather earn a high salary in a career you find morally questionable, or earn a modest salary in a career that aligns with your values and principles?
Hey,
I don't know
that's
if
such
the
a Would You
I don't
Rather
know
to
if the sound-
explain.
I don't know if the microphone picks it up.
Okay, show it to me.
So
What if our morals and principles
wait,
are a
let's
bit
say-
shady
no,
already?
Let's say the Would You Rather first, because I don't think the mic picked up.
yeah,
I'll send you all of them.
I don't have my phone here.
send it to
Where
Galway.
is it?
My phone's out of
Salary
battery.
and questionable
Yeah, so
morality?
Just give me the
okay, I know
laptop.
that. I know
Oh,
it.
you know it?
So, would you rather work at a well-paying job that's morally questionable, or a modest-paying job, but it's
High salary.
But aligns with all your
but it
values.
aligns
and
with your values?
ethics.
Yeah, you're not doing shady stuff.
Wait, but put a number on it.
Okay.
Half a mil salary per year, but questionably.
But it's,
Questionable.
It doesn't have to be salary. Just a career where you're making a
Yeah.
lot of money, but you're making morally and ethically
Questionable.
questionable decisions, versus a career where you're not making a significantly above average income.
A modest salary.
So in that case, it would be modest, a very average income, but you have no regrets. You morally, you have checked
Yeah.
all the boxes that allow you to do the work that you do.
Have my answer.
Me too.
Same.
Same.
Think we're all modest, so
Really?
I'm going for the modest.
Yeah, morality with me as well.
Morality as well.
Be honest. You can be honest.
I'm gonna go the other way.
The other way.
The other way. Because I think like
Oh, no explanation.
Yeah. You're right. Sorry. Oh man, but I'm gonna look horrible now.
True. Well, that's
Ethics
the game.
number one.
That's the game. That's the game. That's the game.
That's the name of the game.
But this would you rather is a 10-minute conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's a whole podcast.
it's a whole podcast.
Really
Yeah.
is.
But
should we do an episode on that maybe later?
maybe put your
Foreshadowing.
comments down below.
Hashtag teaser. Check in on the next episode.
Yes.
But yeah, that was it for this episode, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed our two special guests. I think it was a very interesting conversation.
Thank you.
But yeah,
I was gonna say I'll leave their social medias down below. But we're not influencers, so and they're quite
We're
low
not.
key. So if you want to listen more about them, drop down in the comments because I think they liked it and they'll be up for it to do it again.
100%.
And we're both down to have a part-time, high-paying job. So.
Thank you
high
guys.
paying job.
Bye bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.